Hello and welcome to Simuldub Saints, your guide to seasonal anime dubs. I'm your host, LaserKid, and with me as always is my trusty co-host.
Hello, I am Archangel, lover of cat girls.
You've been listening to our theme song, Wherever I Go, from friend of the podcast, Ampren. Please check out their awesome music, link in the description.
And this episode is sponsored by Mengele Medical. More about them at the end.
Oh dear. Well...
Hey, they paid.
Apparently. So, we don't have a whole lot of news, but we do have one piece of the news. So, in the news, I was reincarnated as the 7th prince so I could take my time perfecting my magical ability. Season 2 will premiere on July 9th. I bet Archangel's happy.
Indeed. I just found the show very funny.
I don't know why that one. I mean, it's not bad. It's not a bad show, but like,
neither do I.
You're the only one I know who's like really enjoyed it on the level you did, but you did find it funny, and
it's not like I think it's like the greatest anime of the year or anything. No. I just thought it was funny,
and so there you are, and that's our news. But before we jump into the topic. We're the Simuldub Saints. It is our job and our mission to tell you guys all about all the Simuldubs out there. That's the entire point of this podcast. I've said it a few times, but I don't say it every episode. But I'm saying it here because we're going to take a look at some highlights for the season because we're at that fun early part of the season where nothing is really far enough along yet for us to really go, hey, let's do a deep dive into this specific show. But there are enough far enough along that some of them may have caught our attention for one reason or another. I will say all the ones you expect to be good are good. Apothecary Diaries continues to be good. Dragon Ball Super continues to be good. Hero Academia, Windbreaker. Did I say Dragon Ball?
You said Super.
Oh my god! Yeah, Dragon Ball Daima. Yes. But yes. Bye Bye Earth, to me, is good. That seems to be more hit and miss, depending on who you are. A-Rank Party is still good. Everything you expect is good. I'm not going to go into a deep dive on all of those. You already know about those. But there are some interesting highlights. Ark, why don't you begin? Because you got one that I know you were chomping at the bit to talk about.
Which one? There's a couple. So, first of all, it continuing to be why isn't this dubbed is I'm the evil lord of an intergalactic empire,
yes.
Which is everything I could have hoped for from an anime adaptation. It's beautiful. So there's that. Surprising us with how interesting it is was Anne Shirley, because again, neither LK or I ever read Anne of Green Gables, so...
That's definitely the highlight for me. Oh, the one I was thinking you were going to talk about was Kowloon.
Yep, we'll get there.
But yeah, Anne Shirley was very surprising. I thought I was going to watch an episode, find it boring, and leave. I watched an episode and became captivated, and we're watching it week to week.
Indeed. So the one that kind of it started off with LK was thinking, and our friend R Dragon were thinking, and I came away from the first episode thinking, okay, this is either or there's something interesting going on. Maybe was Kowloon generic romance, and it turns out it's not really a romance show. It's more of a weird existential sci-fi something.
There's a mystery to be solved here. People are disappearing. Yeah. People are coming around with no memory. It's some fucky-wucky shit's going on.
Right. So it's, I think, rather worth your time if you're into that sort of thing. Likewise, if you're into just, romance shows, and you don't like this sort of sci-fi, maybe give this one a miss, actually. There's that. Let's see what else.
The Unaware Atelier Meister is definitely the highlight for me this season. That show is
yes, it's
so
adorable.
good.
It's
Absolutely adorable. Definitely a good show.
Yeah. Another one that LK tells me has aroused, for some reason, a lot of hate from the online community. And so for that reason, I'm just going to push back a little bit, though I haven't seen any of the arguments. I'm not sure exactly what people's problem is, but it's called The Beginning After the End.
People love the story. They hate the animation.
The animation is perfectly serviceable. So, I'm not a huge judge of such things, but I will say that from some other stuff I watch regularly on other platforms, I know what shit animation looks like, folks. And, if this looks like shit animation to you, come spend a little time on Hanime or Hentai Haven and reacquaint yourself with what really shit animation looks like.
Oh my.
Yeah. And so, basically it's fine.
I thought it was fine as well. It's not going to win any awards, but
it certainly doesn't deserve any sort of Razzie.
No, although you know what does deserve a bit of a Razzie? Beheneko, the elf girl's cat, is secretly an S-ranked monster.
Oh,
I wanted to
that
like this
isn't
one.
even a Razzie. That's just more of a content warning. That show is just very horny.
I want my cat to fuck me.
Yeah, it's again, if it was a hentai, I'd be praising it to the rafters. But as it is, it's just like no. Either go full court.
I guess she is a white girl, but
I don't know. I mean, again, that sort of thing can be hot, but if you can't go the whole way, what's the point?
I don't want to see bestiality, thank you, Ark.
Yeah, well, not in an anime. That's for other stuff. So say it with me, folks. Anime should be anime, and hentai should be hentai.
Even if I wanted a hentai, I don't think I'd want that.
Well, fine, but the point is,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's where that would be confined.
That's where I'm still giving it the walk of shame, because what the fuck?
We don't king shame.
No, but I'm shaming this for being really, really fucked up.
Oh, if you think that's fucked up, dude, then suffice it to say, I'm gonna just giggle and move on. I'm not saying
the fact that there are more fucked up shit in the world does not make this not fucked up.
Okay.
I am fully aware there's more fucked up shit. It's
not a matter of more or less. It's a matter of what appeals to any particular person.
Anyway, I'm not here to debate moral relativism with you.
Likewise.
We've gone on and on about Gundam for the last several, so if you don't know our opinions about Gundam, G-Quooks at this point, I don't know what to tell you. But it's nice to say...
If you've never seen Gundam before, skip episode 2. Otherwise, it's great.
If you have seen Gundam, watch episode 2 first.
Fair.
So there's that. But what I actually want to talk about is From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman, because the show's cute. I enjoy it. It's got some interesting voice direction issues here and there. The way characters talk sometimes is a little weird. The choice of dialogue is a little weird. But overall, it's an enjoyable time. It's
Amazon
not like the
is definitely going through a learning curve.
Yes, it's not like the Dinner Table Detective, which also has a dub from Amazon, where I can enjoy the show for what it is anyway, but that dub does have problems.
Right, because Amazon has, at least that we've watched, 3 shows out this season. There's G-Quooks, which whatchamacallit did. Yeah, they didn't the what's the name of the studio?
Sunrise.
Did it themselves, right? Sunrise did it themselves.
Yep, and that's
so
why
that's like
it's good.
The example of what polished and expert production is. Then there's Master Swordsman, which is all right.
Yeah, you can tell it's amateur hour, but it's at least well done amateur hour.
Yeah, and then this other show, Dinner Table Detective, it's like it's like a throwback to the 90s, and not in a good way.
The 90s were actually a little bit better than that.
Yeah, and again, if I'd enjoyed the show and the characters enough, I might have borne with it. But for me, the double whammy of that.
You didn't get to the good character yet.
Well, I don't know, but
you didn't last an entire episode.
No, I did not. Because between one thing and finding everybody thoroughly unlikable.
Given that you didn't see the whole thing, it's not like it's a case it didn't give enough time for it to get to the good stuff. You just didn't last that long.
Right. There were so many things I just couldn't stand that I noped out.
One of these days I might try it again for you. Just see, not starting over, just starting where we left off, because I do think you'd at least like the main two characters dynamic. One of whom you've met, but not in a proper scenario. The things that was driving you nuts were episode 1 only characters.
Yeah,
and not even the entirety of
the protagonist and then her counterpart supervisor, those were the two that annoyed me the most. So unless the supervisor guy dies and we get some other partner.
He is a bit he's still around, but he's a bit character. The butler character who you briefly saw is the actual guy who does the crime solving, and that's who I thought you'd like.
Oh, maybe, but
anywho, regardless, the dub is not helping it.
If you have Amazon, give it a try. By all means, it's interesting, if nothing else, as a state of the art. To look at the state of the art across different providers, and I'm sure Amazon will get much better very quickly.
Indeed. So yeah, that's the Amazon side of things. Over on High Dive, we mentioned a Walk of Shame, but let me tell you, if you're not watching from Bureaucrat to Villainous, Was Reincarnated, you are missing out. This show is beautifully stupid in all the right ways.
Yes,
definitely give that a try. Especially since we just finished Loner Life with Loner Life concluding and the All Guy Mixer concluding next week. We're down. I'd say we're down, but we've got 3 dubs going on right now. We've got that one, the Heineka, which we mentioned, and the other Walk of Shame from not this season, although it is current in the season. Plus I've Elf, which is another one that is a little too horny.
Yeah, that I just don't get, but
I don't get that one either.
You know.
I think the only one that I want to shout out that we haven't really mentioned so far, that really, really deserves a mention is Witch Watch. Sketch was right. That show's great. It's funny as hell. It's worth your time.
Very much so.
Now, honestly, you can't go wrong this season. I guess you could, but we've mentioned the one side thing, but most word.
Right.
It's all
I should also mention, as the light novel nerd here, that the anime adaptation of Brilliant Healers Do Life in the Shadows is quite faithful.
Interesting.
It's about what I expected. The series itself is not going to set the world on fire, but it's fun.
It's that's about what I say about it. It's serviceable. The show's aight.
Yeah,
it's
the novel.
Not one that's making me go, I can't wait, and I'm watching the sub. Like say something like, I don't know.
But the novels are the same way. They're fun and silly, and they held my interest up to a point as a time killer.
Yeah, the 2 that I can't keep wait on are Atelier, Meister, and Hero Academia Vigilantes. Those are the 2 where I'm just like, I need it! And they're doing same-day dubs, which is great.
Excellent.
So I don't have that problem too much. But that's kind of our early look into the season. We'll definitely be covering some of these in time, but we just wanted to kind of give you guys an idea.
Yeah, Atelier Meister's definitely getting an episode once we have.
Oh, we're definitely. There's no way we're not doing an Atelier Meister episode. It's coming. Well, Ark, it was bound to happen. It's me. There's no way we weren't going to do an episode on The Red Ranger Becomes an Adventure in Another World. Or as I will refer to it for the rest of this episode, because that is a mouthful title, Red Ranger Isekai.
Yep. So for those of you who don't like listening to me talk, you will love this episode because it's mostly going to be LK talking this episode.
You had some commentary about it when we were watching it that I'm actually counting on you to make again.
we'll see if I remember it, but yeah.
It has something to do with how totalitarianism works and how people think and all that.
Oh,
Very
that,
realistic.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
want
it's
you. I want that in here because you had some unique things
Sure.
to say there that I won't be able to fully get to.
Sure.
So I'm counting on you, buddy.
If I can remember all the conversations in detail, but yeah.
Well, I'm not
we'll
looking for that, but like, just don't shut your brain off is all I'm asking you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, well, I can't do that. We don't have any guests, so.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Anyway.
So our titular Red Ranger is Togo Asagaki, or Kizuna Red, part of the Kizuna 5. A bunch of, I'm just gonna say they're Power Rangers. A bunch of Power Rangers run around fighting the relationship vendors and their leader, the Breakup King, in the most stereotypical Super Sentai Power Rangers, whatever you want to call it, story I've ever seen. They even go to the point of making a Kizuna 5 intro that's not the same intro for the show, which, by the way, I gave an award for this intro, and I mean it. This show's intro is an absolute masterclass banger.
I actually really want to see a spin-off of just, unironically, the Kizuna 5 story.
I do too! It would be
just
fun!
It's so stupid in the best possible way.
I really
like any good Super Sentai.
I do need to show. We still haven't done it, but we need to watch some Super Sentai together, and I know which one to show you.
Okay.
At some point. But yeah, Togo Asagaki, voiced by Ethan Condon. That's Guinness in Bye Bye Earth. That's the Ramhorn guy who currently in Bye Bye Earth is trying to change the system. And Jade in I Was Reincarnated as the Seventh Prince, so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability. Who unfortunately got his mind taken over by a demon in that show, but and of course we mentioned Kizuna Red. We've got to talk about the voice of the Kizuna 5 items, Splatoon. He's also the narrator, and that's of course Daniel Von Thomas. That's Ditus in Nina the Starry Bride and Adonis Question in Bye Bye Earth. If you told me that Kizuna Red and the friggin' thing were both Bye Bye Earth characters, I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah, well, a good actor of any sort has range.
And they both do.
Indeed.
Of course, begin
Ethan
this.
in particular just absolutely 125% commits.
He is the... I remember when I first watched the Japanese, and I even mentioned it on this podcast. Mm-hmm. Whoever they get is gonna have hard shoes to follow in, because I can tell you the Japanese voice of Togo is whoo, goddamn. And it took, and Ethan was always great, but it took a couple episodes for me to really warm up to him. But oh man, he's got that energy. He really, really does, and that is not easy. Let me tell you.
Because Red is the most sincere person you'll ever meet.
Absolutely.
To me, someone like me, it's more just like a continuous facepalm almost. Because, you can't say anything bad, but it's like, on the other hand, it's like, annoying. So.
Yep. Well, we start off with him having his final battle with the Breakup King, voiced by Chris George. That's Sugarman / Rikido Sato in My Hero Academia, and Geld in Reslime. And they have their big fight, and Kizuna Red wins, but he's falling to his death.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Yes. You're falling to your death.
I couldn't resist that old beam.
Except for he doesn't fall to his death. He hits the ground. Ow. Hey, I'm not dead. Great. Oh, except for now, he's in another world. A fantasy world. And he's become an adventurer to try and find... At first, he's trying to find a way home. That doesn't really work out, so he decided, you know what? Well, I'm Kizuna Red. I'm just going to help out whoever I can, wherever I go, and we'll just see where that takes me, because that's the kind of guy he is.
Yes. So we have the transposition of classic Sentai onto classic fantasy world, and extremely well written, and taken, the ridiculousness on both sides is taken absolutely seriously.
Indeed, I think
Is the
that's what
beauty
really
of it.
makes it work.
Right.
Of course,
It's the same sort of thing that makes Warhammer 40K work. It's taking something ridiculous and then just committing to it and taking it absolutely seriously.
Indeed. And yet there's also always a straight character. And in this case, that's Idra Arvelin, voiced by Natalie Van Sistine. That's your Forger and Spy Family. You're going to see a lot of Spy Family a la Minier. And Star and Stripe in My Hero Academia. Yeah, Idra is this wizard lady. Her father was actually the previous head of the magic tower, although he was ousted. And she lives with Butler Poseidon, voiced by R. Bruce Elliott. That's Whitebeard in One Piece and Makarov in Fairy Tail. Very classic voice actor for Funimation back in the day. He did a lot of classic old guys. Arc, I looked to see if there's anyone you might recognize, and the only one I could find is he was the Funimation voice of Captain Ginyu.
Okay.
Most of these I don't
Not
think
an insignificant credit.
Oh no, dude, this guy's been around. He plays some very major roles. The problem is when I'm looking for things for you specifically, there's a big giant gaping hole of where you weren't really watching, and he's kind of fills in most of that.
Fair enough.
Like, I don't think you've seen Fairy Tail. I'm 99% certain.
Nope.
And I know you haven't seen nearly enough One Piece to see Whitebeard. And as much as I would love for you to give it another chance, there is no way even I would drag you to the point where you get to that with you kicking and screaming. I'm not that mean.
You don't have that much blackmail material on me. Yeah, well, I'm hearing you and other people talking about, I'm on episode 100, I'm on episode 200, and mentally I'm just even more nope.
I'm on episode 900, Arc.
Yeah, as you know, folks, I have developed in recent years something of a pathological respect for my own time.
Yes, but this is worth your time. I understand you don't have much of it, but in terms of being worth your time, it is worth your time. Now, whether or not you like it, that's up to you, and I'm not here to...
yeah, anyway. But, yeah, no.
Oh, hey! Did I ever show you Samurai 7?
Yes, you did.
Okay, well, he's the OG old samurai guy, Kanbei Shimada.
Okay,
that one is one I know you recognize, because I had a feeling I would have shown it to you when we lived together.
Yeah. Speaking of which, is Samurai 7 available on any of the services?
Crunchyroll.
Okay, so yeah, if anyone hasn't seen Samurai 7, take the time.
Dude,
it's a classic.
It is a well-loved... I would be shocked.
Well, people who are just getting into anime and don't have...
Yeah, that's true.
Someone to pester them.
It's one that people tend to think of a lot, though.
Yeah, and it's not all that long.
No, it's a 26 episode, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Anywho, we are diverging like crazy over here. That's all right. He's kind of an overprotective butler. Well, eventually Red comes across her, trying to just do jobs, and...
Well, she's recruiting for a dungeon dive, if I recall correctly.
Yes, and her first two guys, one Zetsu, voiced by Ben George Stegmaier. That's Iharu Furushi in Kaiju number 8, and Kishinmaru Minobe in Shinobi no Otoki, and Lane, voiced by Alex Mai. That's the Emperor in Apothecary Diaries, and Animus in Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. They kind of get their butts kicked and literally are being carried out by a golem as Red approaches to try, because
it's basically a test.
Yeah, and she can't get people who are good enough. Well, Red is a freaking Power Ranger and destroys the crap out of that golem.
Yeah. And so of course, ever the researcher, Idra is like, where are these explosions coming from? What kind of power is that? What the hell ass balls is going on?
I don't know if it's here or if it's later, but she eventually looks at his guild card to see what his stats are. And his stats are not at all RPG stats. They're like trading cards for like
it's literally like it's like a trading card. This show is so cute.
It's amazing. And she's just like, what is going on? Why are there explosions? Why are you talking like... But
yeah, it's like the sort of reaction any normie would have when confronted with Super Sentai.
Yes, if Super Sentai happened for real around you, you'd have these reactions. And of course, Poseidon sees all this and is just like, I don't know about this shit. He's not too keen on Kizuna Red. At one point, he threatens to cut his balls off if they hang out too long.
Yeah. Well, he's concerned with Idra's honor, shall we say?
Yes,
because he's her surrogate father. Because
speaking of which, we should forget. Father,
yeah.
Yes. Well, now, Taodai Arvolan, voiced by the legendary Christopher Wackamp. That's Shota Aizawa, Razorhead in My Hero Academia. And Master Kitty Cat in Natsume's Book of Friends. Also Ryuji Goto in Soul Leveling we talked about last week. Yeah, he has since passed on. He was the head of the Magic Tower, but he was ousted. And his whole thing
was... We're talking about the character, not the voice actor. Just
correct. Yes, the character. No. I don't think.
As far as we know, Christopher is perfectly fine. Thankfully.
He is a legendary voice actor, and they're not getting rid of him.
I just realized as we were listening, it's like that could be taken the wrong way, so we should be.
Yeah, fair enough. But he was all about magic for the masses and taking care of people, and he wanted her to follow in his footsteps in that, and he's kind of her guiding light.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they go where she's looking to find. There's some magic metal where this mana is basically fountaining out and creating mana metal. So she's trying to find out what's going on. And of course, there's a monster there. And they end up fighting it. There's this guy who's got this thing they call it a pimple in his head. They have to remove that. They're not sure what's going on here, but they go get him to get help. And, yeah, he's helpful. So she decides she's going to keep him around for research, because what the heck are you? I mean, he calls forth the Kizuna Beasts and the maximum Kizuna Kaiser. And, yeah, she wants to know just what's going on with this guy.
Is it now or later that he calls the Megazord inside a dungeon and he's like, wait a minute, there's not enough room?
I don't remember exactly whether that happens, but yes, that absolutely happens.
But it does happen at one point, and he's just like, shoot, it's very anticlimactic.
Well, before things really get going, we also have Zetsu and Lane talking bad about her dad. She gets mad. They make some kind of a bet about going through a dungeon. I think that's where this happens, actually. And, of course, that's where they get all of themselves get in trouble. And they have to work together with the Victory Kizuna Busta! Which, of course, them to, use that bond power. Because that is how the Kizuna 5 worked. They had the power of bonds. And Toga will not shut up about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't work.
He's one of these people, who they have their one thing and they only ever talk about that one thing. We all know these people.
Hopefully that's not me.
Oh no, you have like half a dozen things that you won't shut up about. So.
That's true. I know that I won't shut up about
which in nerd culture makes you a perfectly healthy and balanced individual.
Fair enough.
I mean, I'm the same way, right?
I'd say so, yeah.
You tell me, but yeah.
But I enjoy our conversations. That's why we're doing a podcast together. But yeah, they try to shoot this cannon that Togo's hoping, but it doesn't work because, well, they kind of hate Idra for throwing them out, and she kind of hates them for bad-talking her dad. So we literally have this last-second, hey, everybody, let's come together from Togo. And the hell of it is, it somehow works.
Mm-hmm. Because Red
He's got a way with people.
He does.
And this leads us to our next set of characters, who are two mainstay characters. Princess Teletina Liz Wargrey Avalost, voiced by Bryn April. That's Rain, and I left my A-rank party so to help my former students reach the dungeon depths. And Anya Forger herself in Spy Family. I told her we'd see that again. God, we got mom and daughter reunified in this party here between Itra and Princess.
And to be clear, Teltina is not a child. She's about the same age as everybody else. So
absolutely not. But she is the youngest of the royals, though. She is like the last in line for the throne, basically, and that doesn't seem to bother her at all.
Right, because she has a mission.
Yes, well, a self-imposed mission, at this point, at least.
Oh, those are the best kind.
So, she and her friend, Logi Mist, voiced by Bradley Gareth, that's Hikage Shinomori in My Hero Academia. This guy's got like 3 scars on his eyes. And Guel Jaturk in Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. He's great, but the 2 of them are on a quest to find mana seeds. That aforementioned pimple, yeah, that's called a mana seed. And it allows people to use what's called a privilege spell. But if it goes out of control...
So well named.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, the very good, incisive, and not overbearing social commentary is strong with this show.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so to all of you people trying to write lame woke shit, this is how you do social commentary. This is how you push a point of view onto people. Of course, it requires you to actually know how to write, but, you know.
God, how did I know you were going to go there? But I wanted you to go there, so that's
fine. It's true.
It is true. They're hunting down these mana seeds because they're dangerous, because, they tend to go out of control and turn people into monsters. Privilege spells, you have these privilege spells, they are very rare, and they might turn you into a monster.
This whole thing is a giant metaphor for the whole power corrupts shtick. And the thing is, these privilege spells they're not intrinsically evil. They do grant people great power, which can be used to great benefit. And
in fact, the princess herself has one.
Exactly. That is the point. And that's how she's like the only person who's able to destroy these things, because she saw that this problem was happening, and so her privilege allows her to neutralize other monoseeds.
That wolf that manifests, by the way, is adorable as hell. Mm-hmm. But it basically swallows the person and the mana seed, spits the person back out, and eats the mana seed. It's one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. But that's getting a little ahead of ourselves, because the first one we come across I am getting ahead of myself still, because
we should probably talk about Logi.
Yes.
I think we have to, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. He won the dumbass awards for both of us for the past season.
Yes.
And he earned it. Absolutely earned it. I think he was my number 2 and your number 1.
This guy needs numerous and continuous ass kickings.
Bonks to the head. He's very overly protective of the princess. Not that he shouldn't be protected, but like he doesn't want anyone else there.
He's basically an obsessive stalker, though he doesn't realize it, who's been put in the position of her guardian knight, and he is in love with her, which is fine, but this guy is extremely stupid and extremely focused.
He's obsessive.
The hell of it is he's actually quite talented, and is the bearer, chosen by the sword of the Holy Sword, which is a whole thing that I don't know if we want to get into. The show does a really good job of explaining it, but
it's this holy sword that drains mana, and it gets more in return for it being powerful. Well, Logi doesn't have mana, so it can drain all at once. He doesn't have any to begin with, so it doesn't hurt him, and he can still use it.
Yeah, and it's got like 8 different forms, and
it does all kinds of different things. It's really cool. Logi is one hell of a swordsman,
right? And because the princess actually it doesn't even have a crush on Red or anything. She just, but she favors him because he's very useful and he's a very nice person.
Yeah, he's against having him there.
So Logi goes to DEFCON 0 on
his
Red,
immediate
right from that
reaction.
moment.
His immediate reaction is, "Hey, I refuse to go over to venturing with this guy. I don't want him anywhere near you." But yeah, there's some sort of a bet agreement made where, okay, well, we'll fight and see who wins. And if I win, you have to take me with you. And if you win, I will stay away. So, of course, that's where Red summons the Keys and the Beasts. And, of course, Teltina is already close to Red at this point, so she gets sucked right into the maximum Keys and the Kaiser alongside with Idra.
You have kidnapped the princess!
Yes, exactly!
It's everything you would expect, but it's so well done, and it's played absolutely straight, is the hell of it.
Absolutely. I absolutely adore that about it. And it just keeps going. Red does win that, and he's forced to kind of begrudgingly agree to have Red along, but he doesn't exactly like that.
Oh, no.
Now we can go to the town they're heading to, the town of Akalina, which is this bustling trade town where it's described as this town that never sleeps kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what they find when they get there. Because when they get there, it's quiet. A little too quiet. They're interrupted at first by a mysterious lady. At this point, they don't know her name, who tells them just to get out. But, of course, they don't listen to that shit. Who wants to listen to that shit?
Yeah, there's a problem here. We need to solve it.
Yes, that's why they're there. So they actually make their way to Lord Lulugart, voiced by Tyson Reinhardt. That's Ronga in Rieslein, and Kaname Tauma in Natsume's Book of Friends. That's the good friend character who can kind of sort of notice the yokai. Yeah, he does not take well to the "you will relinquish your mana seed and you got to stop oppressing your citizens." And
yeah, we didn't actually explain. He's got this is like a classic on the nose example of the whole. We are going to impose complete and absolute control for your protection.
Yes, he wants to protect everyone by making sure that they're not too noisy and they do everything the way he thinks things should be done, and
if you step 1 millimeter out of line, a giant golem shows up and crushes your head.
That's fine. Seems like a good guy.
Yeah, I would simply quote Benjamin Franklin that he who gives up freedom for security deserves neither. But
I agree. But he has quite a bit of an argument back and forth with the princess.
Yeah, and this. And with Red, and that dialogue, I would say, it's worth watching that episode just for that dialogue sequence. It is the best encapsulation of liberty versus authoritarianism and a legitimate discussion. With no straw manning, no lampshading. It's a legitimate discussion between those two points of view, represented by these respective characters, and it's extraordinarily well written.
I agree, and that I knew you had that feeling about it. That's why I wanted your thoughts to come here, because I knew that you had that strong feeling.
My thoughts is go watch that episode if nothing else.
Sure,
I forgot the number, but yeah,
that's pretty early on.
It's worth. Yeah, it's worth watching just that episode, even if you have no interest in this show otherwise.
And of course, Red is being too loud, so his minions get summoned to beat the crap out of Red. And the princess tells Logi to help, but Logi won't help. And they're forced to make their escape. And they do so with the assistance of said lady who talked to them earlier, a lady named Grossa, voiced by Morgan Berry. That's Ubel in Freerun, and Polka Shinomiya in Dead Mount Deathplay. Or I'm sorry, Shinoyama. I can pronounce names, guys. I swear.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of introduces them to their resistance. They're trying to overcome him, but they're just not powerful enough. But they're actually directly asked. And this is something that I loved. This conversation that resonated with me the way that other one did for you. Why don't you all just leave? So many did. But this town is our home.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to leave. We want to be free. We want our town to be the way it's supposed to be, not under this guy's control. And I'm like, I feel that.
And also, where are we going to go,
Yeah, well, I mean, the ones that could did, but yeah. Not that easy. So they decide they're going to go make a counteroffensive again. And this is where Logi earned his dumbass award from me. Logi is so jealous of Red that he literally steals his bond plate so he can't transform. Just pockets it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
not even middle school, elementary school level behavior.
Oh, absolutely. This is some incredibly childish behavior. I do not disagree. But this, of course, leads to the inevitable result of my own actions, us all getting our asses kicked by Lord Lulugart, because, Red can't do anything, so he's taken out. Idris goes after him. Logi's getting the shit beaten out of him as he's trying to protect the princess, and everything is going to absolute hell. And I can't remember exactly how the plate gets noticed by Red when he comes back, but it does. Everyone's like, "Oh, I get it. You wanted to transform too." Oh, Red, you pure soul.
Oh dear.
I love him so much. But of course that gets him his bomb plate back. He transforms. They beat the crap out of Lord Lulugart. Everything looks like it's gonna go great. And that's when we see Grossa and her rebellion again. And they're all turning into monsters. And now we have an appearance of the first of several major antagonists that we will run across. One, Abu Dhabi, voiced by Chad Klein. That's Akira Soma in Fruits Baskets, the 2019 remake. And Romania in Atelier, The Beautiful World. Abu Dhabi is a royal demon. He's son of the sealed demon queen. There are several of these out there, and they're all trying to awake their dear mama. Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, well, he is very French, and he is a clown. So I will just observe. Thou shalt suffer not the clown to live.
Yes, agreed. He supplied the rebellion with all the mana seeds that they used. Oh, oops! I actually gave them faulty ones that'll make them turn monsters right away. Tee-hee, oops. Yeah, mana seeds. Yeah, they're coming from the royal demons. Is what we learned here.
Mm-hmm.
We do end up stopping them. And Lord Lulugart actually, I must remember, he actually turns into a giant freaking meteor of doom. They actually have to use the keys of the Kaiser to lift it into space because it was going to explode.
Yeah,
they are able to save that, but there's so many people for Princess Taltina to remove the Massies from. It actually affects her adversely, and she is in pain and suffering. Logi's absolutely panicking, and this is one of the few times I actually do feel bad for him. And that is when Xiaoha makes her appearance, the new head of the Magic Tower, the one who replaced Idra's father, Xiaoha Shamayazel, voiced by nobody freaking knows, because we have not come across this problem nearly as much lately, but this is going to be a thing for this show. Crunchyroll did not credit several key characters, and it's really annoying, and this is one of them. I don't know who you are, voice of Xiaohua, but you did amazing. I hope we can find out who you are someday.
Indeed.
But, because, oh god, she's so hateable. And
Sort
a
of.
lot
She has a point of view. She's not
does.
evil. She's
I
just
agree with you,
annoying.
actually.
And so,
I do
yeah,
agree.
if the mayor, Lord, what's his face, is an argument about authoritarianism, her argument / fight with Idra is basically about gun control and related debates.
Gun control or
Any
regulation.
similar technology.
Any regulation, really.
Yeah.
Like, even like, I don't know, regulating business.
Right. And she makes, and again, her point of view is presented honestly, and she makes some very good points. Now, I still side with Idra, broadly speaking, but she does have some very good points that do need to be considered and accounted for.
Yep.
And so, again, the writing in this show is, this show is not just silly comedy. If I should have
it has
been more
a lot of
upfront
silly
about this.
comedy.
Right, but this show is worth watching even if you're not into that sort of thing, because the writing here is way better than it has any fucking right to be.
I agree. And we'll get to when it hits me the way it's hitting you. Because if it's hitting you like this, imagine what happens when it does hit me. She's interesting. She actually does chase Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi's actually afraid of her. And has heard of her. And she then teleports everyone away so she can give medical assistance to the princess, which she does so because that's what she does. She's a servant of the royal family. This leads to a very interesting set of circumstances. We have that argument between Xiaohua and Idra. And Red actually tries to say, well, she's got a point. And that, of course, Idra's like, you weren't really my friend after all. Look, of course.
Yeah.
And she flies off, and Red has to chase after her.
Yeah. And, public service announcement, it's okay for your friends to have different opinions than you.
Well, more than that, he actually makes a point. Agreed. He actually makes a point once he does catch up to her. I do support your dreams. I do support your vision. Xiaohua said it would be difficult. She's right about that. That makes it all the more worth pursuing, and she didn't let him say that.
Mm-hmm.
I understand where she was coming from. She's being emotional. She's really upset, and Xiaohua has that effect. I have mixed opinion. While Xiaohua can come across...
Personally, she's quite obnoxious. Yeah.
Yes. She comes across incredibly haughty.
Mm-hmm.
And that definitely pushes all the wrong buttons. Unless there's further information, which would change my opinion, I actually don't think she's evil. I think she's a bitch.
I said, yeah, no. Right.
I actually think she could be a valuable ally. And I think she actually is, because of where things go. We'll get into that here in a minute.
She certainly, it certainly becomes clear that she achieved her current position on merit.
Absolutely. The next day, they all
just as a side note, this comes up as somebody who very recently, for various reasons, has been working with a lot of people who I very much disagree with about all manner of different things, and I've gotten talking with these people about various things. It's amazing how much more we agree on than we disagree on, is the funny thing. So the reason I mention this is reasonable people who genuinely want to better their society, there is so much more room for discussion, compromise, and finding the right path together than you might think.
Amen.
Especially in today's echo chamber world. So get out there and actually talk to people. Now, people who are being stupid, ignore them. But there's a lot more reasonable people than you think, and talk to them, especially the ones who disagree with you. It's
how we
draining, annoying, but fascinating and very valuable.
Agreed. And actually, I was skipping ahead a little bit because there's actually some important stuff that happens here. Red goes to talk to Logi about some stuff. And they're kind of having a bit of a bonding moment. They had a big bonding moment fighting side by side against Lord Lulugart after Red got his bracer back. We definitely still have the Sundari Loji moment where I don't like you or anything, but it's clear there's a bit of a bro thing between them going on. But while they're having that conversation, Red suddenly disappears. And appears inside Idra's bathroom, where Idra's taking a bath. Oops.
Yeah.
Turns out she somehow magically triggered the emergency keys in a warp. This is a thing that the emergency keys in a warp will pull people to someone who, in the keys in the team, who is in need of help. She accidentally triggered that, which is very interesting. They spend all goddamn night researching Red, researching the keys in the warp, and trying to figure out what's going on and how she's able to tap into the bond power of the keys in the 5, because she clearly did. So there's something analogous to the magic she uses and the bond power that the keys in the 5 used. And now we can go to the next morning, where they're going to meet the actual Emperor, Princess Taltina's father. Jokes about bond mergers going on between Idra and Red, kind of hinted, wink, wink, nudge, nudging about what happened with them the night before. Pretty damn funny, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, you can't not tease your friends when something like that happens.
Bond merger! We were not doing bond merger, we swear! Oh, we know that you were doing a bond merger! The best kind of censorship ever. It leaves it in your own head.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of times comedy, this is just another tangent. I think a lot of times comedy sketches, particularly with profanity, is actually funnier with censorship than without. And my early example of this is from the Robot Chicken Star Wars special, the sketch with Palpatine on the phone with Vader. The censored version, watch like the censored version and then the uncensored version. And the censored version to me is so much funnier.
I would agree with you.
So
anyway, the Emperor does decide to meet with all of them. They tell him about what's going on, about the privilege seeds, how they come from the royal demons, how this is dangerous, how it's causing problems. And he agrees to have them seized from the nobles and banned from use. Smart king! Unfortunately, it doesn't go very well. Oh, you might be wondering, why are you crediting the Emperor? Because I can't, because Crunchyroll didn't credit him. Why Crunchyroll? I have 5 to 6 different places I can look for voice actor credits. And I need all of them just to get the ones I do get, because of course none of them have all of them. I have to go to several of them. But none of them had something for this guy.
Another public service announcement. If anybody is bored, becoming a volunteer on platform of your choice, like behind the voice actors or whatever, there is a desperate need for more people to help with these sites, apparently. So I'm sure they would all appreciate you.
Behind the voice actors is always incredibly like season or 2 behind usually. Like they don't even Behind the voice actors doesn't even have a page for Red Ranger because of Adventure in Another World. It doesn't even exist.
Right, and I'm pretty sure that's because they're I assume it's run by volunteers. I'm assuming they're just swamped.
Oh, I assume so too. I mean, just constantly.
So yeah, anyone who's looking for something to do, here's something.
Indeed. Things look like they're about to go well, but then Prince Dario, voiced by Alex Hom, shows up. That's Gauchwan in Apothecary Diaries, and Aga Ibuki in Ayaka. Ooh, making Ayaka references, that makes me happy. Prince Dario does not make me happy, because he's like, no, we'll take them, we'll confiscate them from general use, but we could use them as a tool for war. I see someone didn't read Lord of the Rings. Yes, let's use the demon's weapon. That's gonna work great. Dumbasses.
It is a gift. A gift to the foes of Mordor.
Yeah, sure it is.
God. Well, again, it's the eternal debate with that sort of thing, and Anyway.
And Xiaoha's like, yes, we can do this. She's asked. She doesn't butt in. She's asked the Emperor, can you do this? He's like, yes, I can do that, but it's going to require me to really look into it to make sure that it's safe.
So,
I love
if I
that.
recall correctly, she's just stalling for time, essentially.
That is my read. Because she and Idra have a argument after this meeting, and Idra's like, you're really going to do that? She's like I could say no to a noble.
Right.
Which, fair point.
Yeah, so...
But here is why I believe she is secretly on their side, or at least partially.
Well, she's smart enough to realize this is a dumbass idea.
Well, she is, but that's not why. She actually points them somewhere. She points them to the Sun Force, where she thinks that they might be needed because of some things that are going on. And she is absolutely right. They go to the Sun Force and are immediately accosted by elves, although Logi doesn't help matters at all because Logi's a dumbass. And Logi's all like, "Aye, one of you has a special magic power. You must relinquish it at once." And the elves are like, screw you, guy. And they're met by the elves' leader, Rania, also known as Amen, because she is using a very interestingly styled powered suit that turns her into Amen. Patch up. It sounds very similar. It's like a previous Sentai team or something. But Rania is voiced by Marwa Elda. This actually is her first named role that I can find credit for, but she has done additional voices for Apothecary Diaries, and I May Be a Good Receptionist, but also Any Boss to Clock Out on Time. And I gotta say, Marwa, as Rania, you're amazing. I want to see more of you. Thank you for voicing an awesome character in your awesome way. See, this is why I like it when I can credit the voice actors. Because then I can say, hey, good job. Keep it up. But I can't do that if I don't know who it is. Initially, there's conflict, but eventually, Red transforms, and although there's a slight battle afterward, he actually calms things down because he's been prophesized. The great otherworlder Red Ranger is going to save them at their time of need. So saith a prophecy from the time of the great hero. The same great hero who was an otherworlder who sealed the Demon Queen away. This actually triggers something in Red. He knew someone once, he says, who did prophecies. But he couldn't really pick up what's going on. Before he can, they're all attacked by magical cards that seal people up. Because a man named Azir Anuma Kukcha, who is not credited, god damn it, Crunchyroll. This is a major character, what the fuck? They're all sealed by one of his guys. Now that gets on, his guy gets beaten, they get unsealed pretty quickly. But he is kind of the major antagonist for much of the next piece. But he is driven off before he's going to come back. This small, short downtime has Rania down in the dumps because she and Azir were friends when they were kids, and this is really bothering her because she can't forgive him, and yet there's a bond there. And that leads to the best episode of this entire show. The time where they did an actual Keys in the 5 episode as the actual episode, because Togo tells a tale that is similar for him in his past, where someone he cared about became an enemy. And that was his adopted brother. Because Kizuna Red, Togo Asagaki, his birth parents died when he was very young. He was adopted by one of their friends. His adopted brother, Kiyohiro Shindo, voiced by the legendary Aaron Dismuke, that's Florio and Dragon Ball Daima, Senko Ishigami and Dr. Stone, Lucifer and Delta Part Timer, go on and on and on. He's At first, he's kind of there to, be supportive and helpful. But he gets very resentful towards Togo. Because Togo's getting all the attention of his parents, his sister, people at school, and he is actually taken advantage of by the relationship vendors, and he becomes the Bond killer, which causes Red to have all kinds of grief, because he doesn't know who it is.
I'm here to kill you, Mr. Bond. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Anyway, no, appropriate. Now, they're all over the show in flashbacks, but this is the biggest flashback, so we want to briefly go into the rest of the Kizuna 5! Nagare Kizuna Blue Banjoji, voiced by Landon McDonald, that's Dagasu in Dragon Ball Daima, and Soshiro Hoshina in Kaiju number 8. He is actually the founder of the Kizuna 5. When he found out about the big Bond energy, he knew he had to find people to help. And he found out with the assistance of Dr. Pedagoras, we do not know who is voiced by because they won't credit their voice actors, Dr. Garnet Crunchyroll. But he helps them find A, the people with big Bond souls, and B, he creates a transformation system that they use to become the Kizuna 5. One of the first ones they find is Shuji Kataoka, or Kizuna Green, voiced by Zan Kramer. That's a Shaft in the Witch of the Beast. That's one of the main two characters. And Sickle and Shane Barnaby in Spy Family. He's not too much to say about this guy. He's big muscle man, big strong guy. That's pretty much all we have to know about Kizuna Green.
Ex-military, very, very stereotypical. Everything he says is in military jargon. It's a bit much even for me.
That is certainly saying something. Then there's Emily Tomohoshi, or Kizuna Yellow, voiced by Crystal Laporte. That's Mirai Kuriyama in Beyond the Boundary, and Kuwabala in also Clara Valhalla in Shy. She's the one with the weird tongue thing. She sticks out her tongue to be like, she's one of the bad girls. And speaking of bad girls, Emily was actually a street thug who'd beat up people who were unfaithful before she decided to become a teacher. And that's kind of what we know about her. And of course, she's Kizuna Yellow. Well, one of her students...
Well, actually, she strikes me as a bit unstable, but...
A little bit, but in a fun way. One of her students, though, Tsukasa Aizawa, is Kizuna Pink. Voiced by Celeste Perez, that's Sei Takanashi in The Saints Magic Powers of Omnipotent, and the Peg Bar in Zenju. I always have to hear her. There's not a whole lot to say about her either, but she's a cute, fun kid. They have all their great adventures, and they're dealing with the Bond killer here is basically they have to... Togo and Kiyohiro have to work through their issues, and they do, and they become stronger friends and brothers afterward. Of course, to pull the joke after, like, oh, so it all worked out. Well, he went back to being the Bond killer about 13 more times. But after that, it was great. Oh, Super Sentai and reusing plot threads. That would never happen.
Indeed. This is where it does a good job of lampshading tropes from...
Oh, it does. It really does.
Perspective stuff.
It makes me die laughing. So, we do end up having our battle with Azir afterward, shortly after this. And things go not well. He's dominant because of his privilege spell. And he even beats Rania, taking the power she has, the Amen power for himself. And then Kizuna Red comes up to fight him, and we kind of get a look into his background. He is trying to create a world of equality where he is the leader, and everyone else will have to do what he says, and that means that everyone's going to have to get along because he said so.
Translation: Communism.
Ooh. Man, we're shooting at everybody today.
Well, the show is, again, very good social commentary wrapped up in this madness. It's a masterclass in how to address important issues using fantasy and or sci-fi.
Indeed. We learn actually how he got here. We see in flashback that his father, Beluga Kukucha, voiced by, we still don't know, because Crunchyroll still won't credit their voice actors. Gosh darn it, Crunchyroll. He was trying to create the peace between the elves and their people. But people were doing, why they took our gerbs? And they literally riot because they took our gerbs!
This is a thing that happens,
That's
throughout
true.
history. Like there's a little more behind the current unrest than that, but
Well,
it's
there's
definitely
more
one of the
behind this
contributing
unrest.
factors.
There's
Yeah.
more behind this unrest too.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're skipping ahead a little bit. They're being basically played with by another of the royal demons, one Vidan, the ultimate lover, voiced by Connor Allison. That's Wolfram in the Black Butler Emerald Witch arc, and Isao Tsuchiya in Twilight Out of Focus. This dude is vain as all hell, but he's totally presents himself as Azir's butler to Azir after his father dies, and he can't get people to work with him, and he offers him, of course, the Monoseed, which he takes and gains his privilege spell from. And of course, it's all a plot to get at him and mess with him, and it unfortunately does a good job of screwing things up. They get close to getting Azir to calm down, but Vidan directly intervenes, and he turns into this basically sentient sandstorm. It is nuts. Of course, the response is to go into the Kizuna Kaiser, but it doesn't even matter what they do in the Kizuna Kaiser. It just doesn't work. That is until Idra forms the Kizuna Scepter. Yeah, a whole new weapon for the Kizuna Kaiser. And Idra's the one that created it, and she's able to use the magic with it and use Rania, who is also the Kizuna Kaiser, the fifth member of the new people inside the Kizuna Kaiser. And they use that magic and the mental connection between Rania and Azir, because there is definitely a romance between the two. And they're able to cure, heal, and bring back Azir. It is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in anime. It's actually really, really heartwarming. But Vidon can't have that. And so he goes on the offensive and is just basically going to try and slaughter everyone. And Red tries to intervene to transform, but he's stabbed because Abu Dhabi reappears. And it's like, no, we're not letting you do that this time. We have two royal demons, and they're destroying stuff left and right. And Red can't really transform. He's getting stopped. They're going in for the kill on Idra, and Red actually takes the attack in the back, blocking her, protecting her with his own back, taking serious damage in the process. And Togo tells Logi, I'm going to do what I can to stop this, but if I go out of control, I need you to kill me. Because that may be the only way to stop me. And he takes out a different bond plate than usual. The black bond plate. And he turns into Kizuna Black. We get a couple of flashbacks from here. One of which involves the description of that black. It's basically a power-up, but it will make someone obsessed with bonds and fear of losing bonds. It kind of a great power at the cost of your sanity, basically.
Yeah, it's harnessing the same sort of energy that Logi had been projecting.
Yes, actually, I agree. And then there's the part that gets me. There was a sixth Kizuna 5. Tenri Nikado, Kizuna Silver, voiced by Morgan Laurie Garrett. That's Dr. Aransu in Dragon Ball Daima, and, of course, your favorite lady in Laidback Camp, Nadeshiko Kagemihara.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I can't even think about this sequence without tearing up. She had foresight, and she knew if she joined the Kizuna 5 that she would die. So she does that whole Sixth Ranger thing where she shows up to help. She's not formally a part of the team. But even so, there is a critical juncture where the Breakup King goes in for the kill on Kizuna Red, and she pushes him out of the way and takes lethal damage for it, dying in the process. This is a piece of trauma that sticks with Red all the way past into all of the events we've seen. That overbearing, strong warmth, he's doing that to stay together. Because this is tearing him apart inside. How could it not? It changed the way I looked at that character from that point forward. Looking back, everything is so clear about why he is the way he is. At one point on another podcast, you were talking about how in some stories you watch, someone like this was like this because they were on narcotics. He's not on narcotics. This behavior is his narcotic, because otherwise he'd cry. And this grief and fear of having it happen again drives Togo as Kizuna Black. And he is able to actually chase off the Royal Demon pair, Abu Dhabi and Vidon. They're forced to flee. But then he loses control of himself when he starts attacking everything in sight. Taltina uses her privilege spell, Wolf, to get everybody out, because, hold on to the Floof and the Floof will run. And Logi goes in to stop him in one of the best lines in the whole show. Kill you? Like I do what you ask me to! And he knocks him out, takes the thing off of him, the morpher off of him. And Togo wakes up with Idra and Logi there. And he immediately apologizes to everyone for damaging the Sun Forest. But it turns out he really only took out two of the Sun Forest cacti. It's an interesting name, because apparently the Sun Forest was at one time a real forest, but it was actually turned into a desert because of the Demon Queen was mad at the elves and did that to their homeland. So there's a lot going on there. But wow, what a show. We end with 2 post-credit sequences. The first of which has the Kizuna 5 members, including a new member, who is, of course, Kiyohiro Shundo, that is Togo's adopted brother, who is wearing white. I guess he's Kizuna White. And apparently they realize and see that the Kizuna Beasts are being mobilized, and they know that it's Kizuna Red that's mobilizing them, but they don't know where he is or where they're going when they go to him. But they're resolved to go find him and help him.
Oh, what else would they do?
Absolutely, but man, what a good scene. Well, and it's closure on the character of Kiyohiro, who, as we know, he kept going back to being Bond Killer over and over for a while. But it looks like he's joined the Kizuna 5 following the disappearance of his brother.
Yeah, well, that'll just set him up for future relapses and betrayals, but it's all good.
Nah. If we're talking about Super Sentai, nah, he's made he's good.
All right.
He's joined the team officially now. Of course, he's also now weak. Also, now he's of course weaker than he was because also tropes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the last scene is of course the royal demons are meeting around their mother, who is not unsealed, but it looks like it's getting looser. The only other thing I wanted
and it
to
appears that the clown is creepily obsessed with Mama.
Well, the one who's most critically obsessed is Vidon because he wants to marry Mama. Isn't that normal?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry, I mixed.
Isn't that normal?
Whatever.
No, it's not. Well, don't we all maybe when I'm a kid?
Die in a fire, both of you.
Seriously, they both just ugh. The only thing I want to kind of comment on that I forgot to mention, I mentioned the setup, but I never got to pay it off. When they first got to the Sun Forest, and we find out about the prophecy, we know that Toto's like, I know someone who talked about prophecy. He was talking about Keys the Silver, Tenri Nikaido, and we know that she died. But we also know there was another otherworlder who went to this world in the past and was the hero who sealed off the Demon Queen, and that someone among that group made the prophecy. Did she get isekai'd too? This show is amazing. It has really good commentary, amazing action, emotional moments that actually at least make me cry for whatever that's worth. And just, it's a fun time. If you got this far and you hadn't seen it, well, we spoiled it for you, but goddamn, what a show. Any closing thoughts, Ark?
Nothing we haven't already said.
All right, well, I guess it's time for us to talk about today's sponsor.
Indeed. So this episode of the Simuldub Saints is sponsored by Mengele Medical, which, as we all know, is the healthcare subsidiary of Villain Supply Incorporated. Ever since 1952, when the nascent Villain Supply recruited the visionary Dr. Josef Mengele, so visionary, in fact, that nobody at Villain Supply could understand his thought processes at all. So, to tell you how awesome he was, Mengele Medical has provided painful, amusing, and above all, cost-effective medical solutions to aspiring villains worldwide. Our product line enables everything from simple pokes and prods to the most invasive and horrifying procedures that you might wish to perform on your henchmen and or captives. Cybernetic enhancements? Not a problem. Genetic alterations? Bring your vision to screaming, tortured life. Vivisection? You don't even need to ask. Oh, and drugs? Just show us the cash and back up the truck, baby. Seriously, we have so many drugs, even after that New Year's party. Please buy some. We really need to clear warehouse space. Anyway, be it equipment, pharmaceuticals, or, of course, our mad scientist referral service, Mengele Medical has you covered. All of our products and services are guaranteed to be extremely painful or your money back. View the full catalog of said products and services today on villainsupply.com. And please note that Mengele Medical is not an HMO. Even we aren't that evil.
Wow. What's it with you and finding sponsors that are selling drugs, dude?
They find me. I don't know. And besides, Oscar does not sell drugs, okay? He sells things for you to make drugs. There's a difference.
I see.
Yeah. Oscar is a good boy. Anyway, no, so this is a callback to the old internet, where there used to be a joke site, literally villainsupply.com, which eventually went away because they didn't feel like paying for the domain name. Maybe somebody's revived it. I didn't check. But if we all remember, so basically it was a fake e-commerce website for Bond villains and the like, with, lairs and equipment and henchman gear and this. And so there was a whole subsection, Mengele Medical. And please note that the logo we're showing is just something I whipped up in 5 minutes. It's not from the thing. But so that's just kind of a shout out to the old internet. And it was, perfectly functional e-commerce until you went to checkout. And then, of course, the payment system would always be broken. Please come back later. So it was one of these wonderful, wonderful things of the old internet. And that's the joke.
All right. Well, I guess the question now is, Ark, where can the people find you?
Back in Vardaron playing V Rising.
Oh, fun fact, me too.
Yep. Also out wherever the hell Void Crew takes place.
Ah, also me too. In fact, we'll be doing that right after this.
Indeed. So yeah, that's me.
Yep. As for me, you can find me over on Twitter at LaserKid Prime. You can find me on Blue Sky at LaserKid. And you can find me on the Toonami Faithful podcast, where we've been doing live recordings pretty much every Sunday. Which is fun because we record this on Sunday. Today, we're recording it after, but last week we recorded it before. It's fun. It's roulette. Multiple podcasts one day. But maybe you can listen to Toonami Faithful live when we record. Or after. It's a fun time. As for the Simuldub Saints, you can find us on Twitter and Blue Sky at Simuldub Saints. We also have a Facebook group for Simuldub Saints that is linked on the YouTube and Spotify podcast page where the podcasts actually are. So, yeah, that's where you can find us. Well, that does it for this week's episode of Simuldub Saints. So we'll catch you all next time.
計画的が迷い込む